Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 632 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined once again by the fearsome threesome. Never said that before. Ben Funky Askren, Oliver the Bear a Stone, and Kyle Bratke. He's here in his bright orange shirt.
Nice.
And we're ready for another great show. Well, hopefully great. It's a prediction, and it could be terrible. There's no way to know for sure.
We'll do a good job.
But yeah, I think so too. You know, if we have some singles, have some home runs, we strike out every now and again. Ben, what's up with you?
Oh, I see. You set me up right away.
Cole setup.
Well, you know what I want to talk about? I finally got a hold of Win Magazine yesterday, and I will not tell you who it is, but one person had significantly more second place votes than another person. And they said, doesn't matter. We only count first place votes. And I said, I've been filling out your damn form for at least a decade now. You make me fill out second, third, and fourth. And at times when I don't think there's a worthy competitor for third or fourth, as in this year, you email me back the form and you say, Ben, you did not fill out third and fourth place votes. And you try to get me to do it, at which I said, no, I will not do it. So if you do not care about second, third, or fourth place votes because you only count first place votes, allegedly, why in the heck are they on the form? And they had no good answer. They're like, that's a good point. I'm like, damn straight, it's a good point. You got second, third, and fourth place on the ballot.
I mean, do you think it's possibly true that they don't look at that? I think they just didn't want to look at it this year, right? I mean,
that's what it felt like to me.
I mean, that's a tough one. So they make you so all right. So if you don't know, the Hodge ballot has 4 votes: first, second, third, and fourth, and you put it in the order that you think they belong in. So you go, I went Spencer, Gable, David Carr. I forget, maybe Austin O'Connor. I can't recall. And so you would assume that, you know, if the first place votes are tied, they do this so that, you know, in a tiebreaker scenario.
Yes.
Actually, for this exact scenario that we are now in, that's why you have the second, third, and fourth place votes. And I don't think, I think that's, I don't know how the Heisman does it, but I think it's.
They do not. They do not. I looked it up because he tried telling me that's how the Heisman did it on the phone, and I said, nah, I don't think so. And that one was easy to find, and that's definitely not how they do it. They had like, whoever won last year had like 400 and some first place votes and a total of 1,800 and whatever points or something to that effect.
So they count all the ballots.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't believe any award does it like this because especially when you only have in the low 50s in ballots, then there's, I don't want to say it's likely to be a tie because I guess it's never happened to this point, but there's definitely a chance. It's not like there's 700 ballots, right? Because then there'd be a lot less chance of a tie. And if they're only going to count first place votes, Kyle, to your point where they went from 2 fan votes to 5 first place fan votes for this year, that makes that even more sketchy because if we're just singularly counting first place ballots and that's essentially giving 10% to the fan vote or roughly right around there.
Yeah, it is like 10%. Okay, well, that doesn't make any sense or give us any more clarity, but at least it's kind of, so basically, there was a clear winner. There was a winner. It wasn't a tie, yes. But they just decided
not a tie.
They just decided they wanted it. They wanted it to be a winner. I'm glad you didn't.
Can you guys tell me one more thing, Christian? Because he alleged no more than 4 times when we were on the phone. They alleged that it's 90% positive. Everyone loves this idea. Listen, I haven't heard anyone who loves the idea. Everyone who I have talked to, and listen, I don't bring up the conversations to these people. They bring it up to me. Everyone thinks it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I know the team's reaction was across the board. Like, what? It seemed like Twitter was sort of similar.
I mean, there were people that were like, I'm fine with it in this year because they were really close. It was a shortened season, whatever. But I don't think people want to see this as a thing moving forward, and that worries me, the fact that they're saying that they think 90% of people think this is positive, that they're just going to do this every year to satisfy people. And that's total BS. And as you mentioned on the first show we did after this, Ben, it cheapens the award.
Yeah,
Cheapens it, and
it's definitely not
that's
true
main
that
contention.
90%. It's definitely not true that
No,
90%
nowhere
of fans.
near 90%.
If it's 50-50, I mean, I think that's being charitable towards the
Yes.
co-Hodge supporters, in my opinion.
So, I mean, is there any way we could steal the Hodge Award? Because I do like the fact that wrestling has a prestigious award. We can just tell Win, listen, you guys lost your privileges. You don't get to do it anymore. And then we hire, guys, you think I'm joking? I'm serious. And then we give it to a third party who can actually run a real contest and get real results and have it the way it should be done with transparency and integrity.
Well, I don't want to steal. I don't want to steal anything. Yeah,
Rules guy.
Yeah, you're a rules guy, Christian.
Rules
You should
guy,
love
don't wanna
transparency
steal
and integrity.
nothing. Oh, I'm scared to steal. Ooh, big rules guy.
You won't kill someone,
Yeah.
you nerd.
See, point proven, Ben.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to steal things. No, but yeah, I can understand why you want to maybe rectify it. But you know what? Maybe we can just make it a maybe they'll take our advisement under consideration or whatever, and think about this from the future. And they should. Yeah, I know. If they think they nailed it, now a lot of that is just them covering it up a little bit, in my opinion.
Yes.
Just covering their own tracks. So hopefully it doesn't happen again.
And also, if anyone could, I didn't have time to Google it. I got busy last night. If anyone has time to look at another year, I don't know that there's ever been a first place vote tie, but I don't know, and I couldn't find only two, but where they've listed second, third, and fourth place votes. I wonder if they've ever done that. And then the other thing, Christian, I said I don't know that they've done. I don't know that they've ever said explicitly only first place votes count. I can never recall seeing that, because again, if they would have said that, why would they have second, third, and fourth place on the ballot?
I think here's a way they could say that, Ben. They could say that, and not be lying. They could say only first place votes count, because I bet there's never been a scenario where they've been tied at first place votes. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, we all know the reason they have second, third, and fourth is for a tiebreaker criteria, but they could just say, well, yeah, but that's how we've always done it, because there's never been an even tie for first place votes before. So that's how they can be kind of sneaking around that conversation. But we all know.
Don't you feel like in the rules it should say explicitly, like,
of course, how
they're going to count the totals or something to that effect? I feel like that should be very well spelled out somewhere.
Of course, I completely agree.
Yes.
Hey, quick segue. Bad segue, but a segue nonetheless. A reminder. No, it's not bad. It's just there's no continuity in the.
I thought you had bad news for me or something.
No, Christian. Only good news today for the most part. Just a reminder: today's FloWrestling Radio Live is presented by Scrap Life. Visit scraplife.com for all the latest wrestling gear and enter code FLOW21 at checkout for a free poster with your purchase. So get a poster, FLOW21. Thank you, Scrap Life. I have a couple different directions I want to go. One, and we'll just see where the spirit leads, but one, I felt like the last month has been, I'm getting this feeling again that like Penn State is just, they're about to hit another strata for their program, which is kind of crazy to think about considering their success. But now they had an NCAA tournament that they didn't win, but it felt like they won in a way because of what happened Saturday night. In a way.
Just to the final, yeah. Mm-hmm.
4 champs. And then they followed it up a couple weeks later with an Olympic trials where 2 guys that left powerhouse programs, the top competitors, frankly, for Penn State, left their programs and made Olympic teams with Kyle Snyder and Thomas Gilman. Okay, and then you listen to their interviews, and these are guys that were at 2 great programs before, and how glowingly they're speaking about Penn State, the coaching staff, second fathers. Gilman saying he was thinking about retiring, and now he's got this new perspective. And then you've got, at one weight class, it's Penn State versus Penn State. And then the one weight where they maybe underperformed, they still overperformed because a guy in Nick Lee ends up, wrestling amazingly and taking third. And that's a guy who just won NCAAs. And then you've got Helen Maroulis coming there. And she gets there. And this is someone who's, frankly, trained everywhere. And she gets to Penn State in January, which I feel like no one knew or was never an announcement about. And then she's saying, as soon as I walked in the room, I knew this was the place for me to be. So you think about, all the recruits are watching this. All the senior level athletes are watching this. And just sitting there in the venue watching the tournament, Kale and Casey and Cody they were on the floor the entire tournament. Yeah. And it just, there wasn't a presence like that for any other team in any other way. And they wrestled well, obviously. And it seems like even though they didn't win last year, that we're about to hit another era and maybe even a new era, an amplified era of Penn State excellence.
Super cycle. Are you done with your Penn State love monologue?
Is that what it is? I mean, what is it? Is it a love monologue? Do you think that's what's going on?
Definitely possible. A little bit in love with them. No, I think you're right, actually. But then if I have to push back, on the men's freestyle side, there was only one endemic Penn State guy who made the team, right? Gilman and Snyder came from outside, and yes, they are speaking glowingly, but that means they were essentially only able to produce, especially with it's been 10 years now, 11, maybe 11. Only produced one of their own Olympians, which would be David Taylor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I probably would agree significantly more with you that as far as an RTC is concerned, and we've seen their funding, so we know why they're able to put this together. It's almost ridiculous how many people they have, because when you look at Iowa, as good as they've been the last couple of years, they had one guy in the men's freestyle competition, Sammy Brooks, an 8 seed. Oklahoma State didn't really have much in the field. I think
Dayton.
Both of their really competitive guys were college age kids. And Ohio State didn't have much this year, and now Miles is gone, Terrell's gone. And you look in their pipeline, and you're like, who from Ohio State's going to challenge to make a team anytime soon? And I think the answer is nobody. Maybe Carson Karchla. That's a stretch, obviously, right? So maybe nobody. So, yeah, I mean, with their funding and their ability to bring people in, they are going to be the most dominant RTC for probably quite a while. By a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that that on the one hand David's their only Olympian, but the most flattering thing that can happen to them is for these guys to leave elite programs and say, no, there's like a rung better. It's not like I'm not going to name another program, but Well,
if you name those two guys, Gilman came from Iowa, Snyder came from Ohio State.
So what I mean is, what I'm trying to say is, it's not like they came from insert lowly D1 program and then they ended up at Penn State. They went from the second and third competitors. The two biggest competitors for Penn State really historically are going to be Iowa and Ohio State, right? You'll throw in a Michigan there every now and again. Cornell, even by Rob Cole's admission, he's like, they're not going to have a team that can compete for a title every single year like Penn State can, like Iowa can, and Ohio State usually can. So really, their biggest competitors, now that they're kind of widening the gap on the senior level, I feel like it's just going to create this. It's tough to see a scenario where once these Iowa guys graduate, just extrapolating this out, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, no one else at this point in time, and they got to figure out. Maybe Cornell has the funding to keep enough guys around. I mean, if you think just who was at the OT.
I don't think that's true. You think Iowa doesn't have the funding?
True. They would have to raise a lot of money. Hold on. You let me finish.
Sorry.
Who was at the Olympic team trials just for Penn State? And then you go and they have a bunch of guys from other countries, right? They have Franklin Gomez. They have Beckzods there very frequently. They have a whole bunch of other guys they're funding. See, yes, their funding is tremendous, and without that, I mean, listen, Kale's just as good of a coach with or without that funding. But they're not able to keep these guys around just because people need money to live. It's really that simple.
I don't know. I don't think Gilman.
Christian, do the math.
Do you think Gilman left? Hold on, no. But do you think Gilman and Gilman left because of funding?
He said that wasn't why he left.
That's not why he left.
I understand, but he's not going to go for $0 and not have a way to live. People have to live. What's he going to go for $0? They have no money. Is he really going to go somewhere? Who's going to pay his rent? Who's going to give him food?
I guarantee there's plenty that would do that. You think Ohio State and
other college programs? But because Penn State has enough money, and listen, they're not giving them like a crazy. It's not an insane amount. I'm not saying that, but because Penn State can give all these guys funding, these guys can go train there. Because yes, to your point, Kale is likely the best coach, but again, without funding, they can't stack all these people in the same room.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I understand.
So it is a funding dilemma, and I think probably Cornell is someone who is well funded. They have a good team. Look at for example the Penn RTC. They're very well funded. Look how many people they're starting to stack up on their roster. They're starting to have a roster that's 10 deep or so.
Yeah, and they're for me, they're a program to definitely keep an eye on the college ranks, because if you have that ecosystem around with the Mark Hall, McFadden's, Joey McKenna having a run, in addition to the other athletes, that's a big pool for potential college athletes. Now, Penn, just by virtue of what the school is going to be limiting to an extent of what guys they can get in, because the academic standards are so rigorous. But that said, they could be set up in a couple years to be really tough on the college ranks. You have to figure they'll see dividends from a strong RTC soon enough. But it was something I didn't really put a lot of thought in, because going into the trials after Spencer and Nick were out, and with Jaden out, it just seemed like, okay, it's going to be a good day for Snyder, a good day for Gilman, and then but then I didn't put it all together.
Yeah,
it's
honestly,
oh my gosh.
So are you saying the same things if those two weights go a different direction? Are you saying the same thing?
Probably not.
Think? Because it's really not all different. Reality didn't change. Like Jaden still has a chance to beat Kyle, and Spencer and Soriano still have a chance to beat Gilman.
I know that, but it's like what they set out to do. Partially, they were able to accomplish, right, and they accomplished it there. And Dayton beat Gilman to make the team in 2019, and now Dayton didn't make it to him. I know that, but there's some improvement there. And Kyle seemed like he looked good. And Kyle's interview was interesting because he seemed genuinely, I don't know if you got to listen to it yet, he seemed genuinely disappointed about Jaden not wrestling. Like, he did not seem like, obviously he's really happy he's on the team, but I think he was legit disappointed not to get to compare himself to Jaden, which I thought was interesting.
It seems like that's just the kind of guy he is. That's kind of what I would expect out of him.
Yeah. Also, Helen Maroulis apparently tore her MCL 2.5 weeks before the trials. Not apparently.
Hey, so is she getting surgery or something?
MCL? I don't know. I don't know if you get surgery after making the team, right? Can't you just I don't know. We need to have our guy back on and be like, what should Helen Maroulis do?
Break out the knee model.
Give her where's the diagram?
The other team that has a lot that we're kind of talking about RTCs is Gopher Wrestling Club. Seems to have tons of guys at almost every single weight, it feels like. And not a ton of guys really challenging to make teams, but guys who are really competitive.
Yes, for sure. They've got a very, very deep room there. Okay. I kind of wanted to start with a question from Ces Antista. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I did my best. And he has kind of a critique about the coverage of the tournament of Olympic trials. Why are we not showing our best matches? I understand being equitable to Greco and women's, but why isn't a 1-point Zane McKenna or J.O. Yanni match shown on TV? Trying to grow the sport, and I'm sorry to say Greco isn't exciting even for a huge wrestling fan like me. And I can't say I don't understand this perspective. And I think one thing that wrestling fans should, as we all want, we kind of yearn for parity and equity, et cetera, et cetera. I think one thing you have to remember is that Division I folk style wrestling and elite men's freestyle wrestling are vastly, vastly undercovered and underserved sports, right? And I think just because they are the ones that are the most covered, I think wrestling fans in the community lose sight of the fact of how criminally undercovered those sports are still, and how I think we do need to put our best foot forward. And showing Greco, which, one, we're not good at, two, is incredibly difficult to understand, three, is very, very boring, even to wrestling fans. We're in the thing. And
I don't watch
can't,
it.
And so Ben Askren doesn't watch it. He's from Wisconsin. It's in his blood. Actually, Ben's from Iowa. As we all know. Born and raised in Cedar Rapids.
Greco in the blood of Iowans?
No.
They do not love Greco nearly as much as Wisconsins love Greco. People get so mad at me for not loving Greco.
But yeah, I think it's.
No, I agree with you. How many? I text you guys play times like, no, I was annoyed because I had to search around for freestyle matches because it was just some random order you had to guess by, and all of a sudden there'd be a Greco match. You're like, damn it, I'm trying to watch Greco.
Yeah, and we get wrestling doesn't get a lot of opportunities with the national spotlight, so you would like to see that moment capitalized on, right? And if you cut it on TV and you've got, I'm sorry, if there's a Greco match on, people are flipping away, and if there's men's freestyle or elite women's freestyle match or whatever, they're more likely to stay on just because it's a more exciting product. And with men's freestyle, those stars are just more known. Okay, those people, Jordan Oliver and Yanni Diakomahalis and Zane Rutherford and Joey McKenna are more known entities. And I don't know why wrestling doesn't get the same treatment of other sports in terms of how they prioritize the elite athletes, right? NBC for their other sports and ESPN for their other sports, they prioritize the stars and the needle movers. But wrestling doesn't get that treatment, right? And so that is what further.
But isn't it, Christian? Isn't it the governing body or the production team that's doing that?
Whoa,
you know what I'm saying? Like NBC's not saying, "Hey guys, we know exactly which matches to put on." I can't assume they're saying that. They're getting guidance from somebody.
I don't know. I don't know that. Listen.
Well, you guys have covered the trials.
Well,
do you guys get any guidance? Or do you do it differently? Because I feel like the years that you guys have covered the trials, you've done it in what I would say is a more functional manner.
Well, we cover how we want to cover it, but NBC, if they're incentivized to find the things that people are more interested in and show that. So if they're
Isn't everyone that streams?
Well, yes, but so why? So I guess my question is, why would they not prioritize the things that people are more interested in? Because I think, frankly, they don't care about it very much. And I guess the point I was going to make, Ben, is NBC can show whatever they darn well please. Like USA Wrestling or even the IOC is not going to tell NBC. I don't think the IOC.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Maybe not the IOC. But they're not going to say, hey, you have to show this, don't show this, in my opinion, right? They can show what they want. And in 2016, they decided to do the Ryan Lochte interview instead of Helen's historic gold medal win, right? But I think that was NBC's. NBC did that. Why'd they do that? What do people at home know more? They know Ryan Lochte more than Helen Maroulis. Unfortunately, that's true. So I don't understand why in this scenario they wouldn't say, well, hey, these are the more popular wrestlers. Put the more popular wrestlers, the more popular wrestling style, fair or not, on the TV so more people watch that. And basically the Olympic team trials did half the viewership of the NCAA finals, which is, fewer wrestlers and whatever, but I think more people are bought in on those stars and those programs and folk style wrestling. There's a lot of reasons for that. But the bottom line is I'm kind of with Ces Antista here that, if you wanna really grow the sport, you need to put our best foot forward. And currently, I personally don't believe that's Greco-Roman. Will get me yelled at by.
I think Well, Christian, you probably have better access to the numbers than almost anybody, and I think that's
That I do.
you could make a very good argument on the fact that's not. And whenever Greco match came up on that specific mat, I obviously turned off and went to the stream on on my computer. Well, I had them all streaming, so I turned off the NBC and went to the hell was it? Whatever damn stream they were using. I went somewhere else, and then on top of that, the fact that they couldn't do it in like an order that made sense to people. Like that was kind of hard too. Like let's put it in the most random order possible because people could really follow that. I already voiced my displeasure. I'll be done. But yes, it should be men's freestyle.
Yes.
And then probably, I mean, I think Helen's kind of a star. Adeline's a star, and I think Tamira's getting there. So I think putting, maybe like if we're doing 9 and 9, there's your 9, and then the other 9 go on the other mat.
Yeah. Okie doke. Where would you like to go next, Ben?
Well, we talk about the brackets.
Yeah.
We have them on here, and obviously there's a lot of good mat. We kind of just talked about a very high level overview. Yeah.
So we can start at 57 if you'd like, Ben.
Let's do it.
What were your thoughts on this bracket? I feel like we discussed the Cologne Gross match, and another thing that was discussed. We had questions about, but maybe we can bring it up now because thinking about Seth Gross, he was among a couple of wrestlers that just didn't wrestle back on day 2. What are your thoughts on that? Guys who, after they're not going to make the team, just kind of hit the road.
Yeah, I mean, I joked that I texted you guys like, are we actually going to have a wrestling? Because, Zane Richards, forfeit over Seth Gross, forfeit over Dayton Fix, Nathan Thomas L, forfeit over Cologne. I mean, I want to say it was like 2 of the 5 matches or 6 matches that should have been wrestled were not actually wrestled. I don't love it, but obviously if you're going to have a second day weigh-in and guys just had their dreams crushed, that's probably what you're going to get. It's just within the human nature. So yeah, I don't know. I don't fault those guys for doing it. I understand why they did what they did. Doesn't make it great for the viewer. And, I think if you had only one way, probably the majority of these people would have wrestled.
And you know what's interesting and comes to mind, you think about a lot of people complain or like, why do more people care about people that are Division I All-Americans than, placing matches for, the U.S. Open or trials. And, man, in some instances, it seems like the D1 athletes care more about it than the senior level ones, right? It's just not prioritized. Fair or not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And I think if you look at, like, James Green, Seth Gross, these are 2 guys with tremendous weight cuts. You look at Frank Molinaro and Gabe Dean, they retired. So there's 4 of the guys. So you understand the reasons why. But, there's a lot of criticism over the lack of emphasis over placement matches at senior level stuff. But I think it's de-emphasized first by athletes, in my opinion.
Well, you also have to be able to correctly incentivize them, right? I mean, it's a team race. Lots of times the team race comes down to, as in this year, comes down to wrestleback points. I mean, if Iowa doesn't score a bunch of points in wrestlebacks, they're not winning the national title. So it's why incentivized there. And then the other thing I think would be big is that, you get top 8, you get to say I'm an All-American, you get to say that forever. There's not, I guess, top 3 on this is national team, and that's something you can say. But even a lot of people, in the wrestling, you don't really say, oh, yeah, I was national team. That's not like something you would hear someone say. Or, if I introduced a camp clinician, I might say, hey, this guy was a 3-time All-American, and he competed in freestyle for a while. But maybe if he'd have been national team one year, I probably would have said, oh, yeah, he was national team. Like, if he was on the world team where he actually went to the Worlds, I probably would say that.
Yeah.
So I just think, like, mentally, that's kind of how people think about it.
Well, I think there's incentive to be on the national team with there's financial compensation.
$250 a month, big money, Christian.
Well, that's more than you get for being an NCAA All-American for a team that's not paying you anything.
NCAA is an organization that you can't get paid, but actually, I would argue that it's less because a lot of these guys are on scholarship, which is worth $40,000-$50,000 a year, which is greater than $250 a month.
Some of them aren't on any money, and they still wrestled back for third.
They're hoping to be on money.
Yeah. Well, you also get your like trips paid for and whatnot. I'm pretty sure
You get to go to a bunch of training camps.
Yeah.
Other people don't get to go to.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. Listen, I have trained for this stuff. Let's see. In 07, did I wrestle all the way back? I didn't wrestle my last match because I had a few injuries and I was in the 5th place match. I did not wrestle the 5th place match. But it wasn't like there was nothing like, oh, I want to make the national team. It was like, I want to be the freaking guy, or I guess I'm not the guy. And that was it. Like, I could tell you unequivocally, I was not thinking about being number 2 or number 3 to call myself national team.
Yeah. And
I would think, I would probably think if you asked a lot of the other guys, they would say something really similar. Right. So that play a huge part to play in that. I mean, if they were getting a decent stipend, like, say 3rd place was getting, I don't know, let's say $30,000 a year, some of these dudes would be making weight for that much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think they get $250 for like 8 months. I mean, what does it add up to? $2,000? Like, they can all make that doing one camp. It's not relevant to them.
Okay, so we talked about Cologne versus Gross, and then Gilman texts Joe Cologne, no problem.
He couldn't stay in the middle of the mat with him.
No.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, a lot of people had problems with that with Gilman this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know if he's. I mean, his pace and pressure are not new, but it seemed to be. But I feel like Cologne is someone you would expect to be able to stand in the middle and hand fight with him. Like I have seen like with Gross in Gilman matches. He's moved Gross around, so I could have seen that, and I certainly could see it with Vito, and because I feel like we did see that in their previous meetings, but I didn't expect it with Joe Cologne.
Yeah, me neither. I thought Joe would be able to hold center for sure, and it would be a competitive match. That was kind of shocking to me that it was such a blowout, and that Gilman looked really good all weekend.
And one thing listening to Gilman kind of remind me of something I've discussed about Thomas is. And why I was not high on him coming into the tournament was the skill of winning matches and the tactics and those things involved, the kind of indefinable, not wrestling skill related qualities that are so wrestling related, had me, wondering, can he really do it? Can he run the gauntlet here? And he had to do it really twice. He had to do it against Vito, down 4-0 early. And he had to do it in the second match against Vito, which was super close. And he had to find a way to win those matches, close the door. So I don't know if that's you don't want to just say you see something, you say, okay, it's an evolution, it's this major change. But it's certainly notable, right, that we were seeing him, in the Gross match, he seemed like the better guy, but he lost, bad calls or not.
Yes.
In the overseas match, he seemed like the better guy, but lost, bad calls or not. In the Gilman-Dayton best of 3 in the 3rd match. Just seemed like bad tactics cost him, not being the worst wrestler.
I told you yesterday, though, that I thought his tactics in match 2 against Vito were terrible.
I know. And how much? Okay, how much?
Why did he leave him in the match? Vito couldn't handle the pressure. Match 1, he dominated because Vito couldn't handle his pressure, and then he decides to not put pressure on in match 2. Like, I thought that was a bad idea.
Yeah. I don't disagree, and then how much of our opinions or takes are based off of, well, he won, so it was good tactics. Well, he lost, so it was bad tactics. I understand that's really low hanging fruit, and maybe not necessarily the case. But it's certainly notable that he won 2 close matches over a very game competitor who just beat Dayton Fix. But like Vito, I feel like he let his foot off the gas. I still wonder if he has like a full 6 minutes of hard go in him against a really good guy. I mean, against Dayton, I felt like he packed it in too early against him.
Vito
now.
Yeah, Vito. He needs to figure out his gas tank issues because, man, he can't seem to make it a full 6 minutes. I mean, that Gilman match, once Gilman started putting pressure on, it felt like 3 minutes in that he was really going downhill. Maybe even a little sooner than that, and then he obviously went super downhill against Dayton also.
Mm-hmm. And barely hung on there. He does, and he's still, he's very young, but he's also, while I say he's young, he's super experienced. This guy's wrestled all over the place. He's had a lot of matches, so it's not like he's not your typical college sophomore or whatever he's going to be next year. He's been around the block, and he's very experienced. Any other thoughts on? I mean, hey, hats off to freaking Nathan Tomasello making the national team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge. I mean,
After retiring.
He retired. I didn't know that he did retire. He didn't do the.
Well, he didn't show up for a while.
Well, he said he was taking a break from competition.
Right, but I wouldn't consider that retirement.
Okay, fair enough.
So, but for him to come, no one was putting this guy in the national team or the top 3. But man, he showed up, made weight 2 days in a row. Cologne forfeited on the backside. He beat Sean Russell. Then he beat Zane Richards for 3rd place. I think
He's going to Tokyo.
Duke tweeted he was going to Tokyo yesterday, but they deleted it. He's not going to Tokyo. I mean, he could go to Tokyo.
I mean, he posted in September that he was taking a break for a while. I mean,
He didn't
close
wrestle
to
since
Olympic
September.
Yeah, I know, but like that's kind of close to Olympic trials.
Yeah.
To be taking a break in September.
Someone had a great tweet about Molinaro's retiring. I gotta find it because it's pretty freaking funny. There's a lot of questions in here, so I don't know if I will find it. But anyways, why don't we go to? Do we want to go to 65 now?
Yes.
Any other thoughts on 57? Good job, Nathan Tomasello. 65. So Ashnault kind of takes out Nishan and it sets up the Zane match. And the Zane Ashnault match was actually pretty competitive. I don't know. Did you watch it, Ben?
I don't think I saw that one.
It was kind of close until late, and then Zane sort of pulled away.
I think it was tied with like a minute and a half left.
Yes.
And I think Ashnault was in criteria. Yeah, no, it was super close.
And
He
then
was going at the same time as maybe Yanni and Frank or something. I wasn't able to watch both.
yeah. So Jo took out Nick Lee 8-3, which was an improvement for Nick because I'm pretty sure he got teched by Jo in 2019 in Fort Worth, which maybe should have been a signal that, hey, Nick Lee's going to go on a run. But, man, I had no idea the kind of run he was going to go on. And then the Jo-Yanni match, I don't know if we've got to talk extensively about it, Ben, but what were your thoughts on how Jo approached that?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about that last sequence yesterday, which I thought Yanni should have wrestled, tried to wrestle back center, but no, Jo did a really good job. I actually want to say I think I was watching Zane and McKenna at this time because I was, and then I skipped back over to the last 45 seconds of Jo and Yanni. This is the issue. I couldn't watch all the matches. It was super annoying. Because I actually was like, once McKenna got the lead, I thought, hey, there's no way he's going to hold on to the lead against Zane. Kind of the same thing you guys thought the whole time. And then sure enough, he was able to hold on the whole time. So I only watched the last 45 seconds of Yanni and Jo.
So Ben has figured out the streaming.
Yeah.
Don't come at him for streaming issues anymore. Now he just needs to figure out how to watch on multiple devices.
But hold on, this is bullcrap anyways, because even if you were to have 2 computers set up, it's not like you can watch both of them with all your energy anyways, right? And all your focus. You're not going to see what's going on both of them.
Right.
I had both tabs up, and as soon as that Zane McKenna match was over, I clicked over, and I want to say he gave up 2 push-outs in a row to lose, correct? Push-out.
Yanni, was it 2 push-outs?
I think
I
so.
believe it was.
I thought it was a takedown and a push-up, but I
push-up.
can't remember. And I really want to go back and rewatch these matches.
But you can't.
I think you can.
You can go back and find the full session replay.
They don't
on Peacock.
God.
And some are on YouTube apparently, but it's not. I mean, it's not many. It's just like the big name stars.
Are they legally on YouTube?
Just like the big names.
Yeah, I saw NBC post NBC Olympics. I'm sure there'll be some bootlegs.
Yeah, who bootlegging? What was that? Your account, Ben, that you always found, the Vietnamese one?
Oh, it was like some funny Vietnamese name.
Yeah. We should get Bratke to read those, because remember, he read...
Yeah, I remember I butchered that name, and you guys made fun of me, so I don't know if I want to do that.
that's my rationale. Okay, so McKenna beat Green. We talked about that. It was a pretty dominant win. We talked about McKenna beating Zane and how basically 2 key factors there were just him getting the leg trapped and still finding a way to go 2-2 and hold Zane off. I mean, if Zane just finished those two clean, he wins outright, no problem. But instead, he wasn't able to do that. So the margins are so freaking thin at this level. It's insane. And matchups
were you guys
matter.
Shocked that Frank killed Evan first round? Because I was kind of thrown off by that.
Yeah, I was.
I picked him. I picked him to win that one. You guys didn't.
You picked Frank?
Yeah,
but
I wasn't super confident. I mean, Evan's freaking tough. He teched Ashnall on the backside.
I just wasn't sure what we were going to get out of Frank.
Yeah, no, that's
and
super
then
fair.
Henderson has wrestled everywhere, and he's been successful wrestling everywhere. So that one was surprising me. But then Yanni just messed up Frank again.
He messed him up bad.
Yeah.
He had everything. He had all the answers for him. It was very impressive.
Which made me feel good about Yanni going into the JO match. And
right. And then he lost.
JO wrestled really, really smart that match.
Yes, he did. And that's one thing with JO that everyone talks about that knows him is like his mat IQ is just insane, and his ability to like process information and like explain. He's going to be a really good coach. And I remember Jordan Burroughs talking about it with me, just like he's someone that if I'm having like a technical question, I'll go to him and ask, because he's just has a really unique, I don't know.
To that point, he was awesome on the Beta Show yesterday.
Yeah.
Like doing that kind of stuff with his matches and stuff. So if you want to hear more about that, check out Beta Show from yesterday.
Definitely a wrestling genius guy. You know what else is interesting? And I don't know how many athletes this applies to, but there's a lot of some of our best guys. I feel like the coach-athlete relationship is a little different. Whereas you think about someone like Yanni, it's like Mike Gray's his coach. He's running them through practice. He's showing them what to do. But like some of these guys reach a level like Jordan, like Dake, like I'm imagining David Taylor, maybe, where they're kind of like running their own thing and doing their own. And it's like more of a consulting, coaching relationship than, all right, today you're working on this, you're drilling this, work on this. What do you think about that, Ben, for a wrestler? Did you ever get to that point? Just your thoughts on that.
I kind of feel like it's like that for all of the best guys.
Do you?
Maybe not the college guys that are that young, but once you get a little older, I feel like if you're not driven, if someone needs to be pushing you at that age, you're just not going to get it done. And I feel like almost all these guys are very, very highly motivated. They do the work themselves. Even like I say, Jordan Burroughs, he lets Coach Snyder and Manning run his workouts, but I guarantee he has a big say in what he's doing, when he's doing it, technical aspects that he goes over. I think that's definitely a big part in every single high-level older athlete, past college.
Yeah. But it seems like that's not the case for it seems like
who?
Like for Jo and Kenny Monday, it's like Kenny is his coach, and you can tell like he is putting him through practices, and I don't know the ins and outs, but I think some of them have like a more defined like, this is my coach, I do what they say, they put me through the practice, and it's kind of like just an implicit trust. Jaden, I think, is probably that way. Like Jaden, I mean, that's as high level as it gets, and I feel like KJ is like his guy, his coach. He puts him through the practice. He says, we're working on this today. Whereas like Dake, I think Dake says, I'm working on this today.
Stuff that nobody's ever done before. So no, KJ could not have told him how to do some of those things, because Jaden is literally doing stuff where you're like, I've never seen that before. No one's ever done that. And so there has to be some part of Jaden that is saying like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, because there's no way a coach says, hey, do that thing where you drop down and then go sideways and then come around this way and then back around that way, and then you come up and you have the leg in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
Jaden definitely came up. I see what your point is with KJ,
okay.
But I'm saying Jaden has ownership over his wrestling just by the fact that he's doing stuff that nobody's ever done before.
Well, they all have that ownership, I would say. I'm just saying, in the day-to-day running of their practice and approach to the sport,
it's different.
it's Kyle Dake says like has basically said I kind of come up with the things I do in a practice and I figure out what I need to work on and I work on it. It's not like Mike Gray or Rob Cole are like, all right, hey, we need to work on your head pinches today. He's like, for Kyle, it's very much I feel something in my live or I feel something in my drilling. I'm like, okay, I need to address this. So I just think it's interesting that some have that structure and where some of it's more consultation, I guess, in consulting in nature, I would say.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like the majority the first way we're talking about, I feel like that's kind of probably the majority.
I don't know. Maybe we need something to figure out further because I feel someone like Gilman.
Like I feel like for example, all Penn State athletes there's probably times when Kale says you have to do this, but a lot of it is a give and take, and athletes saying, well, what about this? What about that? Here's where I'm struggling. That type of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's all of Penn State. It's kind of what they do.
I don't know, and I wouldn't know, but my assumption about Penn State is there's a practice time. The senior level athletes go there. The coaches run them through a practice. That's my assumption of how they do things, and I don't think that's how.
So, but just because they're showing up at the, I don't know. I think like you're stuck on the rules here, Christian, because that the athletes are.
I don't think it's anything to do with the rules.
You're a rule follower because the athletes are showing up at this specific time. Kale says there's 1:30 to 3, and they're not doing their totally own thing at their own time. You're saying that's different than a consultantship where I feel like a lot of the NLWC athletes, and I don't know this for sure, but it's a big part of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking some order from Kale when Kale says, "Listen, you got to do this right now."
Yeah, I agree with that.
They'll do it, but there's a lot of it that's saying, "Hey, coach, here's what I want to work on. Hey, coach, here's something I'm struggling with. What do you think about this move that I just started doing?" Like, I almost guarantee there's a gigantic amount of that. And it's like all systems, I mean, it's been proven without a shadow of doubt, all systems work significantly more efficiently when all the nodes are communicating with each other than when it's just one node from the top communicating down to the rest of them.
I guess my final point, and we can move on, is that I think there is a pretty substantial difference in the level of structure from some senior level athletes. I think there's high structure. A lot of their stuff is planned and then there's some people on the other end of the spectrum where they are very much the majority owners of their day-to-day. And
I guess what I would say then is I don't think there's very, very few really high level guys. I almost want to say none. Very few that say like, "Hey, I'm gonna show up 1:30. Hey, coach, what am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna do it. Oh, 3 o'clock. All right, I'm going to go home." And then that's it, right? They're not processing anything themselves. They just do exactly like a robot what their coach says. Like, I don't think there's a lot of those guys at wrestling at the senior level.
Okay.
I
get it. I was gonna change the subject because I was like, what's it like to wear a shirt that has your face on it? That's not a position most people get in their lives.
Become normalized. We should make a Crystal Palace shirt that you could wear on a daily basis. Kyle, can you make that for him?
I'll get on it.
He majored in
t-shirt design.
Clothes.
What would you put on it?
You got it somewhere. And it says, "Follow the damn rules."
I like that.
I would not say the
it's
D
CP
word.
like this.
Follow the dadgum rules.
Yeah.
Watch, look, it's CP like this, and it's just rules guy.
Yeah.
Maybe we put him with a whistle. Like he's going to blow the whistle.
Oh, whistle is good. And a hall monitor outfit.
Oh, now
where's your hall pass?
You're taking it too far. You're taking it too
hall
far.
Hall monitor CP.
All because I think they should make weight on time.
You know, Ben, I thought about this after the show yesterday. And if wanting guys to make weight on time before a wrestling competition makes me a rules guy, I'm a rules guy.
Yeah. I don't think KB's a rules guy.
You are a rules guy, Bratke.
No, I don't think KB is. When we were doing the watch party and we would go hang out in like the other areas, and him and JD, I'm not gonna get into details. We're just like doing activities that I was like, you guys are gonna break stuff, and they were. it was dangerous.
So we have these lights that hang down in HQ, and JD and I were trying to do like trick shot baskets, and I mean we were just drilling them.
Yeah, the lights were getting.
Okay,
hit.
I've done that exact thing.
Yeah, no.
Yes, I have, Bratke. I was really good at the trick shots for a little bit.
I don't know. You're always like, I don't know, KB. You shouldn't be doing that.
Never
Which, like,
words,
was
never said.
but like,
Never said words.
To Christian's point that he's not a rules guy, one of the things that we complain the most about on this show are rules. The stall edge rule in college wrestling. How bad the grounded rule is in freestyle.
See,
how
you guys
bad
are obsessed with rules. You
No.
can't stop
Here's one.
talking and thinking about rules.
Let me break this down for you. This is really simple to diagnose. Ali, you can back me up. It's because those aren't real rules. Those are ambiguous bullshit rules, and you guys don't know exactly what to follow because it's so ambiguous. And you're like, I want to follow rules.
Yeah,
and
you guys
there's not
need
a real
more
rule here.
Mhm.
Ah!
Yeah,
We actually want to take.
you need
like,
more
I
rule
want to
structure.
eliminate the rule.
Yeah, no, we're trying to eliminate rules here. We're trying to literally.
you
wanna
want
give a
1 point push-out
because
rule,
it's easy.
another
It's
rule.
a rule to follow.
No, it's actually easier for the officials to follow that way.
See, that rule makes you big rules, guys.
Officials are big rules guy. We want them to be less rules guy, more points.
Officials
more
are
points
confirmed
guys.
rules guys, and at one point, in the
confirmed.
watch party, Steve and Kyle Bratke sold out to the referee Illuminati.
Listen.
What did he do?
He switched. He was mad at them for the back points and the pins, and then he switched on him when it was started to happen on their side. I remember it was a shift.
I'm a big anti-official guy.
A big
in
part
any
of
sport.
there's a couple like core tenets of this show, and one of them is that we rip officials all the time.
Yeah.
That's like part of our. I tried to do
They
better.
don't follow the rules
I do
closely
a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're.
But there's some of these maverick referees who think they can just, call it whatever way they want it.
Yeah,
You
like
guys
the
don't
tink guy.
that.
The tink guy.
Yeah, one.
What's the
Tink.
tink guy?
I don't
guy.
like the tink
He's
guy.
he's calling near foul. He goes 1 tink, 2 tink. He hits the mat 3.
What?
Take
Yeah,
him.
he does a little like.
I don't know.
showmanship
There was
with
an
it.
NCAA official doing that at NCAA's.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't be tinking. His nickname is Tink until he stops tinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a nickname I think you want. So
I don't recall seeing
Abraham
someone say
Tinkin.
oh my gosh.
Tinkerbell.
Yep. See, that's even worse. You don't want to be Tinkerbell. Okay. So next up thing. 74 kilowatts. I think that's the next bracket. Nick Lee wrestled back for third. We discussed that. He beat this dude. He beat Yanni 16-8, and he beat Zane 10-4. What on
crazy.
earth? I don't care how sad those guys are. That is insane.
So, I'm going to tell you, I went out and did some chainsawing because there was too many Greco matches going on and too many men's freestyle forfeits. I didn't watch these two.
You didn't watch them? You were just sawing stuff.
I went out and chainsawed too many Greco, and then I saw like 17 forfeits in a row, and I said, dude, this is crap. And I went outside and chainsawed.
What kind of chainsaw you got?
Yeah, what are you working with? You got steel?
A steel.
Yeah, steel. I think it's
Knew
like
it.
320 or something. Pretty powerful.
Well, that's a powerful.
That's a powerful
Do
machine.
you do do you remember the competitions that used to be like on ESPN and
Loved
they would
them. The Lumberjack.
Yeah.
up and down or climb the trees? Could you do that stuff, Ben?
I would love to. You know what? I would love to train to be in a lumberjack competition. The steel just needs to like pay me some money, and then I'll go do it for sure.
I want
that
to
would
see
be
you
so much
do
fun.
the log running.
Which one's that? Where they
back
climb
and
up
forth.
it?
That one's hard.
No,
where
that's
it's on the
both are
wall.
good.
I'm talking about the where
Oh,
it's on
yeah,
the
yeah.
water and they have to run on the logs.
That one seems so outside of
Lumberjacking.
the regular lumberjacking stuff. It's like sawing and climbing up the trees and axing through things. And then you've got the one that's
they
like,
used to float all the logs down the river, Christian, and they had if they
Yeah, I
were
was
log
gonna say
jams, they had
that.
to walk out there and move them around.
oh.
And what happens if you need to get a
Yeah.
log from one side to the other one?
Such not a lumberjack.
Not.
Yeah.
Listen. Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what, we did a lot of lumberjacking on my ends in New York, and we could spot a lumberjack rookie right away, CP, and you're reeking of rookie.
Actually, if you
I'll
fly
own
into
this one.
Vancouver, which I did a few times for
Okay.
the Hargo bid.
Oh, wow.
Wrestling
Been to
tournament.
Canada.
First class?
International travel.
First class, huh?
Yeah, we get
I
it,
was not
dude.
first class at that point in time. I was a very poor international wrestler. I did win. I think I won $3,000 there or something. That was so sweet. I won $3,000. I was so pumped. I got
What'd you
some
buy?
cash money. It was
Chainsaw.
tremendous. Anyway, on the river, as you're landing, there's a river, and they have like millions of logs stacked up in these things. So you could go up there, Christian. You can see what they're talking about with the logging, where they got to move them in log jams and stuff.
Yeah, now that you guys mention it, I am familiar with it.
Okay.
Oh, now that we mention it, you're
Well, yeah, I'm familiar with the
it.
concept.
Now
I'm not.
that we
It's not that
mention
I've,
it.
I'm not acting like I participated in the activity, as though you guys have. Give me a freaking break.
I got my axe in the trunk.
I'm a
All right,
lumberjack.
okay,
I just
go
told
get
you I was
it.
cutting down
Go
trees
to your car and get
yesterday.
your axe.
Right now.
No,
we're on the
go
show. We're on
right
the
now and
show.
get your axe.
Ben literally is a lumberjack.
Yeah,
so.
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the closest thing. You count. You're in Wisconsin. But not Stephen Kyle. He doesn't cut down trees. Yeah, no, I cut down trees.
Cut down trees with my bare hands.
Okay.
I Judy chop them.
Ow.
Okay. I don't know how that happened, but it sure as heck
Started
did.
talking about lumberjacking.
Yeah, I know.
'cause
Yeah, sorry. I started
skipped
talking.
these two
I asked about
matches
his
for
chainsaw.
lumberjacking.
Yeah, and then we went down the competition.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, no problem. So 74, we know what happened there. Dake
We
ran
had a
through.
stupid bracket. How about that Dake? That picture of Dake throwing Nolf,
Oh my word!
bro.
Mm-hmm.
It was
That was epic picture.
Nolf. Not like I don't know. Nolf maintaining consciousness there was like maybe the move of the tournament. I don't know how he did it. He got slammed so freaking hard. They were both completely off the mat. He drove him down
Yes.
with such insane velocity. It was an atrocity.
JD kept saying his mind was just blown on the watch party. He was like, how Dake just did that to like one of the top 15 college wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
In like 25 seconds.
Well, all our brains kind of broke in that moment. I think I was nonstop yelling, "He killed him," over and over again. So we all lost our minds on the watch party for.
I mean, he got in on a shot in the
you know
first
what,
second.
Paul? Of all the stupid rules in freestyle, Nolf was just trying not to get pinned, and they give him a caution in 2.
That's
like,
the rule.
Where else are you supposed to go? It's such a dumb call. If you go out of bounds, bridging, they want you to just stay there and get pinned. That is a freaking idiotic rule.
Yeah, I always thought that was a weird
I saw
one.
a guy get cautioned this weekend because someone got in on a single, walked him out of bounds with the single leg, and they went and cautioned him one. What is he supposed
Yes.
I don't know what he's supposed to do. The other
Alright,
guy's the one that walked him out of bounds.
All right, rules guy Ben here. Jeez, nerd.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, why don't you? Hey, you got an overdue library book, dork. All right.
Hey, I like that.
Sick
I
burn.
like that Evan Wick made the run to Kyle Dake, although he was not a very effective against Kyle Dake. But Evan Wick had a great weekend.
He did.
Like I said, I thought he lost the first match. I actually clicked over to a different match because I did not think the protest was going to go his way, and it did. And then that cradle of Chance Marsteller was quite tremendous. Second round to get to Nolf, and then, to get to Dake, and not very many people do very well against Kyle Dake.
No, he did 1 point better than Nolf, who lost 11-0, because Evan only lost 10-0. But, I thought after Carr, first of all, David Carr beats Logan Massa 8-0. I'm like, okay, Nolf
I was
Carr,
surprised at that.
I actually picked Carr to win, but I didn't think it'd be 8-0. Then me and Mike, we kind of got the runaway train going. We're like, hey, this Nolf Carr match might be a thing. This could be interesting. He can maybe blah, blah, blah. And he gets smashed, completely destroyed, 10-0. And then he gets completely smashed by Kyle Dake. It's like the levels to this are insane.
Yeah.
Because David Carr he had no issues in that tournament at NCAAs at a really good bracket, right?
Or with Logan Massa in the first round.
Or with Logan Massa, who won senior nationals, who beat Mekhi Lewis, who on and on and on. So
beat
it's like
him 4-0 before.
So you think, okay, Carr is so freaking good, and then he gets killed, and then Nolf gets killed. I mean, 74 is insane, and Dake is so good. Yeah, and we talked at length about his win over Jordan. Is there anything to add? Anything yesterday?
I want to address. There's a bunch of questions about this, and I'm going to make a guess here, Christian. But how Dake was butt bouncing on the back of Burrow's head. My take on it this is a guess. I have not talked to Kyle. I think he was trying to annoy Jordan to the point where if Jordan got up or put any pressure in, then Kyle was going to get him. Right? We talked about this. They were kind of both stuck. And so I think Kyle was like, okay, maybe I'll just try to annoy him and maybe he'll drive in a little bit. And then if he drives in, then I could maybe turn him. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. Otherwise, he's going to be a dick. And that's it. I have no idea.
I thought
no way he was doing that.
No, I don't think you just think that in the match. Like, I'm going to be a jerk right now. I thought he was just trying to show
I've definitely
the
done
ref.
that before. You guys serious?
You're
I've definitely been like,
You're built.
I don't like
You're
this
built
guy.
different.
I'm gonna give him a
Hashtag.
little extra.
You're built different.
Wow.
I thought he was just trying to show that the ref that he was still working, so they would stay down there longer and chew up more time.
Yeah, I just wanted to look busy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
that's not a Dake move to be. To do stuff like that. In my opinion. What's something you did, Ben?
You know what my trick was? I would talk shit to them in their ear, so they would hopefully do something stupid. I'm like come on,
what?
man,
What would you say?
Like I would like whisper, like they'd be going about, like, you really just gonna lay down there like a little bee? Like
Whoa.
really? You're just gonna lay here? And then I
You
do
would
it
call
and
them
build up,
letters?
boom, and I slap a cradle on them because they get pissed.
That's funny.
I like it.
I remember the videos of you just like putting your arms out to show that they weren't working.
Yeah.
That's a good
Because
one.
that didn't work when I started taunting with my mouth. It didn't work, so I tried to taunt him even further, so he
Yeah.
would build up.
Did you do this in your MMA career as well?
I did not have great sportsmanship. MMA wasn't. It was more. It wasn't as non-competitive, right? In wrestling, I was just trying to pin them, so I had to get them to make a stupid mistake. And MMA was more competitive. I would say a couple times, probably, but not nearly to the level.
I remember the one time you were like acting like you were riding the guy in MMA,
Yeah.
and then like, you went like
that.
that, and then you punched him in the face.
Would you do that too?
That was against Andrei Kreshkov, the Russian guy.
That
From
was
Bellator.
hilarious.
Oh, he's pretty good. So
Yeah, he was champ Bellator for a little bit.
yeah.
Dang, Ben.
And you rode him like a
Yeah.
pony.
It's messed up. Should we have an emergency Hodge Council recall and take away Ben's Hodges for lack of sportsmanship?
I definitely did not win the sportsmanship award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have a
We'll retroactively take those from
we'll
you.
have a sidebar later. Okay.
Yeah.
86. I think we're good with 74.
Yep.
Burroughs Dake. 86. David Taylor gets it done. He did not give up many points. Did he give up any points?
No.
He gave up no points in the Olympic trials.
Gabe didn't score anything on him. I thought he scored 1 point.
0.
Oh, actually,
Did
wait.
Bo score something?
I think Bo might have scored something, but I thought I saw Andy
I
Hamilton
don't
tweet
think
he didn't
so.
give up
I thought it was.
points.
I think he
Yeah,
blanked
he-
the whole kit and caboodle there,
I do too. Hang on.
Yeah.
which is
think so.
interesting because you think David Taylor, ultra offensive, he'll make a mistake in the name of just outscoring you.
Yeah, David Taylor 25, opponent 0 this weekend in Fort Worth.
Yes.
I feel like David was, I don't want to say more reserved, but not as kind of guns blazing as traditional against, especially,
I felt
obviously
that way
last-
too, Ben.
Yeah.
I feel like he just wanted to
I
get
don't know
the
why.
job done.
Yep.
Yeah, and with I wonder, well, with Gabe, is it something where, okay, I had this really close match with this guy. I learned these things. His pace is a thing, so I'm just going to have a more controlled win here and move on. And then with Bo, I think it's more familiarity. You want to read this?
Yeah, we got a little breaking news here. Brady Berge is going to step away from the sport of wrestling.
Oh, man.
What? Where did that break at?
Twitter, he put on his Twitter, due to concussions and my own health, it is in my best interest to step away from competition. It's not an easy decision. I've had a goal of being a national champion since I can remember. I am not defined by my wins and losses. I am defined by my faith in God and the person he has guided me to become. I'm a child of God. He goes on more and more, but yeah, he's
Man,
done
bummer.
wrestling.
That's a shame. He's a guy who, when he was fully healthy, he was certainly an All-American contender. A guy made the quarters this year before getting hurt against Della Vecchia and forfeiting out. Just snake bit with the concussion thing and other injuries, really, it seemed like,
he
too.
broke his leg in high school.
Yeah.
And I think this was a knee. I remember he couldn't hardly walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, feel bad for him.
That stinks. And For Penn State, 57. Will Joe Lee come down potentially, and they slide in Facundo at 65? They'll have options there, but probably no one as good as Berge at his best at 57, at least for next year for
It's not
Penn State.
not a huge deal, but just like thinking of Penn State in that weight range. I think last week Pfeiffer went in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Now he hasn't
depth.
even been a depth thing. He's been a spot starter. He's never qualified for NCAAs or anything like that. But I don't know. Maybe he reconsiders now.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the portal that they can go get at that weight class? It's got to be somebody, right?
1 second. I can.
Oh yeah, good question. Has anyone else? Have you checked the portal today?
It's been. I checked this morning before the show because of what you said.
Okay.
But
Oh, what he
Out of
said?
the portal.
Don't
You kidding me?
don't say what I said.
yeah, we can't say what he said.
Give
But
me
no,
initials.
this week's
No,
been slow.
I'll text you.
Okay, text me right
Give me
now.
initials, Ben. You're funny. You're a piece of work.
You guys keep talking. I'll look.
Okay,
Through.
you find
All
it.
right, yeah,
Christian's
keep
gonna
talking.
text me.
Keep talking.
I like the senior tracker too. I've been following that, Kyle. Yeah,
I've
updating it surely.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The coaches have been really receptive, and like I said, more guys are coming back than I thought. I mean, the big ones yesterday, I got confirmation on Demetrius Romero will be back,
Oh.
and I think that might be his 7th year. But he did miss
Jeez.
he did miss like an entire year due to injury, so it's not like he's been competing all that time.
Dr. Demetrius, perhaps?
I'm gonna
Wait,
check.
Seabass is gonna come back? Did I miss? Was that on there yesterday?
Yeah, that one's been on there. He was one of the first ones because he said it in a newspaper article that he planned on coming back, and then Goodell told me yesterday that right now him and Mike Van Brill plan on coming back.
Got it.
KB the tracker. These trackers are killing it.
He's all over it.
Yeah, all over
I like
tracking. You're like noticing stepped on leaves and broken sticks and like track this way.
Hey,
You
and-
really think that? I think Anthony Valencia will not be back. That's my guess.
Yeah, I don't know about him. I've reached out. I haven't gotten a response yet. Yeah, it will be Romero's 7th year.
Nice. So one thing,
And
or in this vein, total rumor mill. This means nothing, but I'll just pass it along. Someone that I don't know who they are DM'd me on Instagram and said that they heard from an Iowa backup that Kimmer's coming back. So, as first reported, not by me.
Classic first-hand source.
Classic. I think if we had to
oh
go,
my god,
I think if we had to go down, it's like maybe 7th hand information. So
I think like an Instagram DM is like a 1 or 2 hands down too. Like it loses.
I
for
kind of
sure.
feel
Yeah.
like there's part of him doesn't want to come back because if he was for sure back, they would have said he's for sure back.
for sure.
For sure.
For
Right?
sure.
That's a big for sure.
For sure.
There's no one in the portal that's like equivalent to
Really
Berge or even like on that level that they could go get right now at 157.
I just want to know where
Wow.
Gas Tank Gary's going. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, where is he going?
Maybe I start reaching out to some of these bigger prospects in the portal and get like a school list like
You
we do
should.
with some of the high school kids.
Heck yeah.
Yes, that'd be great.
Start with
GTG.
GTG and work your way down.
Yeah.
So, like, going through some of the best available, obviously all the Stanford guys. Woods went back in, Griffiths in, Jaden Abbas, Traxler.
We have an idea where Abbas is going, right? We just
Yes.
can't say yet.
We
I
do.
Is that right?
Where?
Okay.
I don't think we can say
this
yet.
might be a secret.
Yeah, I
We'll
don't
text you
want to.
later.
I don't
I'll
want to put it out there.
Yeah.
Luke
Where do
Cairns
you
an
think
interesting
McNally's
one.
gonna go?
I don't know. That's an interesting one. And someone actually asked an FRL question and it was more, or just DM me, I guess, but it was for FRL. But Greg Bulsick from Clarion, he's 4-time NCAA qualifier, and he was saying that like he's transferring because Clarion doesn't offer the graduate. One of the reasons he's transferring is Clarion doesn't offer the graduate program that he wants, and he's like, this is a problem with some of these smaller schools, like.
They don't have a lot of in the way of masters.
Right,
program.
compared to like bigger schools like Big 10, Big 12, all that stuff, ACC, all that stuff, and like talking about how that
Man,
could
Nick
be a problem
Rainbow's going to
moving forward.
Rutgers.
Yeah,
Wow. Man, that recruiting class they had at Arizona State with Ramo and Klebov, and who was the other one that was in there? That was
Buziello.
another little guy.
Buziello.
Buziello. That didn't turn out so well.
That's a Whifferooski.
Did not turn out well.
I think it was like one of the most predictable Whifferooskis of all time. It's like, is this gonna work? I'm not sure. Not sure.
Yeah.
I like
Jeez.
Nick Ramo. I hope it works out for him.
But yeah, McNally's a top 10 guy that went in right before Olympic trials last week. Keizan Clark is still a huge name out there right now. Jared Cradinger. You should know about Cradinger. Where's he going?
He's thinking, I believe he's in Minnesota, Central Michigan, UTC, maybe
Comox.
Pitt, maybe.
Okay.
I think.
Maybe. All right.
I wrestled for the first time. I wrestled with him and Keegan. That was like the first time I like really wrestled in like 16 months. Last
Who won?
weekend. It was
Did you get
fun.
your butt kicked?
We didn't go like super hard. We were just like group of 3, 2 in, 1 out type of thing. I definitely wasn't super sharp because like I said, I haven't wrestled in 16 months. I kind of played around with some high school kids but like wrestled with someone who's actually good. Haven't done it in a very.
How different
very
did
long time.
Keegan feel from, you haven't wrestled him in over a year, and he's obviously, I would imagine, improved substantially being in the D1 room.
Oh yeah. So we didn't go super hard. I'm gonna go harder. I got like 6 guys working this summer, so I'm gonna go harder than in the summer. Yeah, I mean, the last time I wrestled him, I just felt like he was kind of like so small. Like when I really like wanted to get a hold of him, and I couldn't really wrestle because of my hip. But when I really wanted to get a hold of him, I could grab him and squeeze him and choke him, or whatever I needed to do.
Yeah. Well.
Choking children.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, he was 19 at the time, so I think it's cool.
Okay.
It's legal to choke him then. All right.
Yeah.
So, anything else to discuss?
It wasn't-
86 feels like it had a lot of heat.
Yeah, 86 was. I think that was the most fun weight class. Nate Jackson did a good job, but then Zahid, it's just like when Zahid's better than you, he's just so much better than you. It's like he just can't stop scoring, and that happened with Nate Jackson and Pat Downey. And then him and Nickel, I think we tried to say that was probably my favorite match of the tournament. That was awesome.
Amazing match. It was really good.
Yes.
Spanks aside.
I thought that was funny. That was good. I don't see what the issue is.
I told Spade we talked about him on FRL, and he just died laughing. And then he was like, "You can't do that. You can't just spank somebody."
See, that's a very rules guy perspective.
Spade's a rule guy.
Yeah.
Spade's a rules guy.
Definitely a rules guy.
I think he'd admit that. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to spanking. So Zahid beat Brooks 6-3. That was pretty anticipated. What else happened on the backside of note? Zahid smashed Downey and Nate Jackson, which was pretty impressive.
What about Downey over Brooks 11-0? I didn't get to catch that match. I was probably using a chainsaw. Was it take down a bunch of guts or what? Because when
like,
Brooks actually wrestled,
Yeah,
he tough on the front side. So when that happened, I was shocked.
He took him down and then gutted him like 3 times and got out to like an 8-0 lead like right away.
Got it.
So Parterre was. I would have liked to have seen that one go like the full length because I wonder if Aaron's pace eventually wears on him. But it was just difference in mat wrestling in that one.
I thought Downey looked pretty good. I would have loved to see the rematch against Gabe Dean, but Dean forfeited out. That would have been a fun one.
Yeah.
Okay. So David Taylor,
this is the best weight class, I think. Most fun one to watch.
it's freaking good. It's really good.
Yes.
Even though we were deprived some matches. What?
Spade's listening. He said, "I am not a rule guy. I'm an anti-spanking guy. Actually, I probably am a rules guy, but this is independent of my stance against spankings mid-match."
That's fair. That is fair.
It was the end of the match.
Yeah.
Hey, so at 97, I think it was one of those things kind of at like you talked about at 74 where Ferrari looked so good at nationals and no one's able to take him down. And I was kind of like, he's going to be able to squeak out a few wins. Obviously, can't beat Jaden, but Jaden was in the bracket. But then he just looked. I know the match was close, but he looked kind of a step behind Mock every time. Like he never was really threatening to him. He was able to keep it close. And Mock was almost able to hit that kind of run behind a whole bunch of times, and then he eventually did hit it to win the match.
He had a pretty good contingent of people there when he walked out. It got pretty loud for him. I was sort of
that's where he's from, right?
Yeah. But there were a lot of Ferrari fans in Fort Worth, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
One thing, a question we got asked that I thought actually really made me think. Let me see if I can find it. But it was basically, if, let's say for the sake of argument, Kyle Snyder wasn't in the bracket and Jaden Cox missed weight, how would my perspective and how would our perspective on the weigh-ins change? And listen,
Great
I got to be
question.
honest, it would change it. I mean, I think it shouldn't. I think it shouldn't.
Hey, I love your honesty, CP.
It shouldn't change it, but I think I would be saying a lot about, hey, this is about getting the best team, and we don't have the best team if Jaden's not on it, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, here it was, Jake Gardalabini. Maybe a real name.
Oh, yeah, I know him. He's a coach from it's Northern Illinois. I think McHenry High School he coaches at.
Yeah, he said, what would your thoughts on Jaden's situation be different if Kyle wasn't in the bracket? If Jaden was clearly the best wrestler to represent at 97. If Colin won at 97 instead of Snyder. I mean, if Colin beat Snyder, maybe I would think, okay, dang, holy crap. Yeah, Colin. But if there's no Snyder and Jaden, man, I kind of probably would be like, I think we should find a way to get him on the team. I don't know. That's not right.
I would still be total rules guy. I want my guys to make weight.
I do too. And I would say, listen, all this I would say, it's attractive to an impulsive side of me, right? Like the same side of me that says, man, wouldn't it be awesome kind of if there was a Kyle Snyder, Jaden Cox wrestle off? Like, what wrestling fans can say, no, I don't want
rule
that.
side, the little devil on your shoulder.
Is the devil the rules guy?
No, you're the
anti-rules guy.
Okay,
You're the rules guy.
You're the rules.
That's your conscience.
My conscience, well, I don't know what my conscience says, but deep down in my being, I want to watch Jaden Cox and Kyle Snyder wrestle really, really badly. So if USA Wrestling announced today, special wrestle off happening, I'm not going to be sad. I just would not be able to bring myself to be disappointed that was happening, even though I don't think it's right. I think it's wrong. At least I can be honest about that.
I'm not going to not watch.
Yeah.
I won't
you will be excited, Bratke. You'll be excited.
No, I'm not saying I won't be. But I will also say at the same time, this is not right.
This is not right. I will say it's not right, but I will be more excited than if I were to learn they will never wrestle off. I can't help that that's true in my mind. But I still don't think it would be warranted or merited.
I think it's a much more interesting argument if our representative at that weight class is not very good, but because it's Kyle Snyder, everyone feels pretty secure that we're going to have a solid representative. If Jaden's better, it's better by a little bit, not by a lot. And I thought Colin would be a little more competitive against Kyle. That was a bloodbath. That was not even close.
So my perspective on it is Colin matches up better against Jaden than Kyle, because I feel like Kyle can just chew through him, and he does. I don't think Colin has the requisite physicality and strength to compete with Colin Moore. But I think because Jaden doesn't make the matches necessarily about that, he makes it about something else, those matches would be a little closer, a little more competitive, albeit with the same result. I think Colin has a better shot against Jaden. But I think Jaden, as I said, I think Jaden would beat Kyle, because I think he's not going to get pushed around in those same ways that Kyle wants to, and he can make the match about what he wants to make it about. Yes. So I'm actually not all that surprised that Colin got kind of smoked there, just because I just think it's a bad matchup for him.
It was a bloodbath. I mean,
I'm curious what he does in non-Olympic years. Does he stay at 97 or does he come down to 92? And maybe that'll depend on what Jaden does.
Colin should go to 92.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but he's also. Sure. I know that he's big, and it's not easy for him to
really
make it. Mm-hmm. Like when we were, I think this summer we're trying to look at him for some matches, and some of them he's like, hey, I'm this size right now. A little bit of that was probably quarantine time, but I think he's maybe a little bigger than people realize.
Wow.
So that was a great question. From Mark Matt, has Ben canceled his 7-day free trial of Peacock?
I already had it because I think my wife. I don't know. I remember seeing it on my TV when my wife was playing around with something over there. So I'm like, I know, I got that over there. So then I just have my wife log me in on my computer.
Okay, we'd hate to see your credit card charged up to $9.95 a month for perpetuity. I know that would be devastating.
Damn it, Amy! Stop subscribing to streaming services.
Yeah. Don't yell at Amy. Mark Matt also wants to know if Allie Reagan is retiring, or he said, "Is it true that Allie Reagan is retiring?" I had not heard that.
I had not heard that either.
So I don't know, but if we
TBD, if we hear it, we'll tell you.
We will tell you. We will not keep that a secret from you. Okay, this question is just designed to make me mad, but I'll ask it anyways. Is it tough for Ollie, Ben Askren superfan, to strong arm Ben on the show while SKB and CP don't have the juice? First of all, we have the juice. Second of all, Ollie answered the question.
What do they mean, that you guys aren't tough enough to strong arm me, but Ollie is?
That seems to be the implication.
No, it's not hard.
Oh, really?
No.
Built different.
No, it's a little bit. It does kind of.
Strong
The child
arm.
in me is like, what are you doing here? But also, at the end of the day, what needs to happen needs to happen.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. That's that.
Okay.
Sorry, Ben. You're a good sport, though. You get it. It's all for the promoting the fight.
Oh,
Yeah.
for the gram.
Yeah.
For the gram. So, all right, from Rassel fan, thoughts on Kale Temper after chair judge refused legit challenge in nickel match. What did he say? Was it a makeup for Zane? He said was looking forward to PSU losing a challenge. Well, this guy might just be trolling a little bit, but I thought if you know the moment we're talking about, I thought it was a good challenge, and I thought it was a challenge that was on time by Kale and stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ben? In the Zahid Bo Nickel match?
It was, yeah. It wasn't that late, and they told him it was too late and he couldn't have it, correct?
It wasn't late at all.
I didn't think it was late, period. Okay, so here's what happened. Zahid's on a single leg, and Bo's kind of like crawling out of bounds, and they maybe go out of bounds or whatever, but he never hits a third supporting point. He's on his hands, but a knee doesn't hit, a head doesn't hit, and it's sort of obvious that that's true. But they throw up the 2, which is fine. I think it was a close call. I'll give him that. And I think Kale was sort of, because you know how it is. You got the whistle, the judge. You're looking over here. You're trying to see what goes up on the scoreboard, what's communicated.
Yeah.
Okay. By the time Kale figured out what the call was, they had reset back to center, and they had maybe just blown the whistle when he throws the brick. So in terms of like match time that had run off, we're talking a second or 2, okay? It is true that there was a little time between the call and the restart, sure, but it seemed well within the time, and them telling him there was no time, Kale was demonstratively upset that they didn't give him the challenge, and I think it was fair. It was, but the irony is not lost that, this is,
full circle here. Yeah.
2 years after the Yanni Zane thing where they were wound back an entire minute. But that was just a bad job by that official, right? That rewound back. And I don't think that official is in that role anymore as a result. So I thought they should have given him the challenge in that instance, but I'm curious what your guys' thoughts were.
I agree, especially with you'll see it all the time of an exchange will happen and the mat official will hold up their scoring, and then a coach will immediately throw the brick in, and then it'll come out that it's not that scoring, and what he thinks should happen has happened, and now we have to sort out why the brick is out there. So
yeah, at last chance, there were a number of times the scoreboard didn't get updated like for well after like the exchange was scored and everything.
Yes.
So sometimes you need like a couple seconds to be like, hey, hang on, we got to make sure this is right. And then I wanted to see what you put up on the board before I throw this brick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
He should have been given the challenge.
Because you look
there.
ridiculous when you throw it, and then you
go pick it up,
out, and it turns out the way that you wanted it to turn out. You're like, nah, give it back. I didn't mean that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm
real.
sorry, I didn't mean it slipped. Yeah, one of those scenarios.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of bogus. They didn't give him the call
Agreed.
or the challenge. Okay, some other questions. Let's see. Who will be the next wrestler to retire? Do an interview on FRL about it, and then unretire. From now on, let's call this. This is from Coach Jason Cook. He says, from now on, let's call this a tire change or a mull and arrow.
I like that.
I think we'll go with tire change.
Yeah.
But I think the other one is clever. Yeah, I don't know if we'll see that again. But, Frank made history.
Someone's going to do it, Christian.
Well, are they going to retire on the show? I mean, there's not been that many. How many people?
It's going to happen.
All right, we need to get.
At some point.
We need to get more. We need to be the place where people come to retire.
Well, what about the Bader Show? Does that count or no? Or
it says FRL, but yeah, maybe the Bader Show can be included.
Okay, maybe.
We'll just call them tire changes in general. They don't have to retire on FRL, but
I think we include the Bader Show, and I think we're definitely going to get a couple in the next year or two.
Okay, but they need to unretire. I don't know where. Yeah, Gabe Dean never really announced his retirement. He just sort of stopped entering matches.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Pops Redfoot. Ultimately, responsibility is on the wrestler, but USA Wrestling also responsible to do everything to field the best team. One world champ late, another almost late. My dentist messages me 10 times about a cleaning. USA Wrestling should send messages to all competitors every 10 minutes. It is true. You think about all the reminders you get from, you have an appointment.
I mean, from what we're hearing, they reminded people enough.
Yeah. Well, clearly, because, maybe not clearly, but how does everyone else get there on time at 7:30 and then when one doesn't? It'd been one thing if it happened to 5 people or 10, you'd be like, all right, there was some weird communication that happened, but I don't know. Yeah. I do think to a degree, I think USA has to look at it and say, all right, well, I feel like we're communicating right, and it seems like it, but the fact that this could happen, maybe we need to go above and beyond or do something slightly differently. I don't know.
Yeah.
And also, another question that got asked is kind of in this vein is, I want to find it, but if I can't, it was essentially, why not give the guys up till the tournament start to make weight? It's not an advantage to make weight later. To which I would assume the reason is they've got to get the bracket set. They have to know who's competing in the thing. That doesn't seem like a major change, but what do you think about allowing weigh-ins up to the time the tournament starts, Ben?
No, hate it. You got to have the bracket set, and then also obviously we just have someone sit at weigh-ins for 3 hours. That's freaking stupid.
Well, I mean, I think extra give OT for the weigher-inners. It's great, stimulating the economy.
I don't think those people get paid.
I think it's kind of unnecessary.
Nah, definitely not.
Definitely not overtime.
So you are a big rules guy when it comes to weigh-ins. You make weight at the time, and if not,
the show is just gonna be trying to dunk on each other and call each other rules guys from now on.
I'm getting a shirt made.
It better be cool. Hey, have Scrap Life should make a rule shirt for rules
I'll give
guys.
it to Scrap Life guys.
You don't know them. Okay.
Christian Piles, the rules guy.
You don't know who I know. But I don't.
Ollie. Any chance of the 24 trials to be provided by anyone other than NBC? I would say no.
Dake, please.
Don't count on it.
Can they contract it out to you guys, for example?
I don't know.
I'm sure they could if they wanted to.
Yeah, we would. You know what? You wouldn't get any resistance from this side of the table. I think we'd be totally cool with that. We even just to help. We're just hey, this is what wrestling fans are looking for. This is what they're trying to see. That'd be good. So from Ben Askren's Flip Flops, is this version of Gable Steveson the best heavyweight Team USA has ever had? He looks unstoppable. Can we go there yet? Can we call our shot this far out?
But we already had. We've had other world and Olympic champions. So
have they ever looked like this guy?
I mean, Bruce won 13 medals.
He won 13 medals.
Listen, there's only one way to know. Let's have Bruce and Gable wrestle, and then we'll know for sure.
I mean, Bruce is bigger.
Bruce is bigger.
Who is Bruce is the greatest American heavyweight of all time, correct?
He won 4 Olympic medals and 2 golds.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's your flip flops, not mine, Ben. I didn't ask this question. It's your flip flops.
Yeah, I think he can win Olympic gold, but in order to be the GOAT of heavyweights, you have to measure up to Bruce standards, and Bruce standards say you need to win a whole bunch of damn medals. Gable's good. Listen, you know what I watched last night? I watched the greatest wrestling match of all time. I watched Hulk Hogan Honor the Giant WrestleMania 3, and you know what I thought? You know what I predicted, Christian Piles? I predicted 12 years from now we'll have the greatest wrestling match of all time, Albert Ferrari, Gable Stevenson, headlining WrestleMania 2033. What do you think?
I don't get this freaking.
I'm in.
Tell me you're not in.
I'm in. You know what? Can I come over? Can I watch at your place, Ben?
You would watch Gable.
13
AJ,
years
right?
from now? 13 years from now? Don't act surprised when I show up.
I mean, I don't know. I may have to watch just for like my job, but I don't know. So we got a question.
Covering pro wrestling in 12 years?
Oh no, we had a fake wrestling website. I actually worked with it. It's
FloSlam did not.
FloSlam, R.I.P. Thankfully,
It was more like underground, like really weird, dark stuff.
it was weird.
Yeah, the underground world of pro wrestling can get dark pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a lot of broken dreams.
Yeah. But Albert Ferrari and Gable will be headlining WrestleMania.
Are you calling him Albert moving forward?
I like it. I think that would be his pro wrestling name. AJ is not a good pro wrestling name. Albert Ferrari is a much better pro wrestling name.
You don't think AJ Ferrari's a good wrestling name? It was like made for
Albert.
WWE.
I like Albert.
Albert?
Why is AJ so much cooler?
Yeah, Albert is not cool. I'm gonna have to, Ben. I've been siding with you a lot
Whoa.
of stuff, and like
Nothing wrong with Albert. AJ is.
Whoa. Careful what you're doing with Albert right now.
Yeah.
No,
right.
I mean, for the no one's choosing Albert as their WWE name. You know, like AJ clearly would go better for that type of name.
Ben, you sound like you don't know WWE when you say that AJ Ferrari is not as good a wrestling
Well,
name
it sounds
as
like
Albert.
it sounds like it's an old school type of WWE guy. You know, there was a lot of Alberts back then. I think.
What?
I don't know.
A lot of Alberts. So we got one question, then we'll go because it's 9:48, and I'm sure Ben has practice or something. Why did Bedpan Ben refer to the highest level of wrestling in the world as amateur when talking about Gable and WWE? FYI, Ben, WWE is fake. As a spokesperson for real wrestling, put some respect on the real thing. I agree.
Yeah, why would you call it amateur wrestling?
When did I say that?
I don't know. I guess you called the highest level of wrestling amateur, and then you called WWE, and then you talk about WWE.
Oh,
you really
I said. No, I said the Olympic gold is the highest level of amateur wrestling is what I believe I said. And well, listen, guys.
That's what it's called.
Gable ain't getting paid, so he's an amateur at this point.
We should pay him.
Sorry.
That is the term that
That is the term, though.
NCAA
That is exactly the
will
term.
use to say that they should not be getting paid is that they are amateur athletes.
Yes.
Well, if you're the best in the world at something, I don't think you can be considered an amateur.
Agreed.
No, but that's like literally by definition. Amateur means you're not getting paid for such a set activity, and he's not getting paid.
Okay, well, all right. Kyle Snyder is, so it's not. So the exact same tournament, someone's an amateur and someone's not.
No, but it means getting paid. No, like if you want to take definition, it's like, are you getting paid to win that tournament? And the Olympics is not paying Gable to win that tournament. Therefore, it is an amateur tournament.
I feel like I could poke holes in this, but
I feel like that's always what it was kind of called in the Olympics, was like amateur sports, and it would like the term amateur was just like kind of taken and given a new name because of it. But yeah, like that's how I always thought it was like kind of referred to.
All right, let's go. This is stupid. You guys are dorks.
There was a guy.
Real wrestling.
Christian, rules guy doesn't like this.
Hey, speaking of Gable, he's gonna be on the Bader Show today at 11:30 Eastern.
Oh yeah.
Gable Dan or Dan Gable?
Now tell him.
Gable
I
Stevenson.
predicted WrestleMania 2033 main event. Him and Albert.
All right, don't let him quit.
I will.
Bader, don't let Gable quit.
Also,
Send in a
there was
question.
a guy in WWE who is nicknamed Prince Albert.
Prince Albert. All right, so you can't take his name.
I remember him. He had a funny goatee.
Don't Google that.
Yeah, he
Don't
did.
Google it.
Well, dang it, guys. We really got to end on that.
Why would you not
Christian
Google?
has no idea what we're Christian has no idea what we're talking about.
I never get any of the references. Goodbye. I'm not going to Google Albert later.